Treats are fine, as long as you know that treats aren't something that you should be having every day. We've all had those moments where we just can't stop thinking about that bag of crisps in the press that we really want, or maybe that bar of chocolate that we bought 2 days ago and we haven't eaten yet. Or maybe we really want something and it's not in the house and we're thinking, do I want it that bad that I'm going to get into the car and drive to the shop to get it? We've all had those moments, and it's fine to give in to those moments occasionally. But if you would like to know how to make those treats a little bit healthier so that you're giving your body more of the good nutrients while still getting the treat, then stay tuned, because that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Hi, my name is Sorcha. I'm a nutritionist and healthy lifestyle blogger from Ireland, and on this channel I help make healthy living simple because it doesn't have to be complicated. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you'll be notified when I upload any more videos. The first one is chips or French fries. So a portion of takeaway French fries is normally quite high in saturated fat, it's quite high in sodium, and quite high in calories. But if you change to oven cooked chips, you are not only reducing the calories, but you are reducing the saturated fat and the salt. And if you go even more, if you check out my recipe for smoked paprika cubes, which are just like chips, then you're going even lower calories, even lower saturated fat, and even lower salt. So let's check out how much lower. So a medium portion of takeaway chips is roughly around 146 grams per average medium portion. And that portion contains 317 calories, which is quite a lot. Then if you were to swap to the same amount of oven cooked chips, you would reduce that almost half to 197 calories per 146 grams. And then if you were to try out my smoked paprika cubes, then you're going to reduce the calories even more to 170 calories per 146 grams. But I don't like to just look at the calories, I like to look at the nutrients as well. So obviously the takeaway chips have a lot more saturated fat in them. So a portion of takeaway chips has 6.3 grams of saturated fat in them per portion. Then the oven chips only has 0.9 grams of saturated fat per portion of the same size. And the smoked paprika cubes also only have 0.8 grams of saturated fat per portion. So straight away, whether you go with the oven chips or the smoked paprika cubes, you're cutting out the saturated fat. And saturated fat is a major cause of heart disease. Now obviously with chips it's a bit difficult because some people like to put extra salt on their chips, but a takeaway portion, I found that the average takeaway portion of chips has 0.06 grams of salt in them without added salt. Now, oven chips actually do have more salt, and that's probably because they're frozen and they are processed. So they have 0.09 grams of salt. But then the smoked paprika cubes, they also only have 0.03 grams of sodium. So if you're looking to reduce your salt levels, then you would go with the smoked paprika cubes. So not only will the oven chips or the smoked paprika cubes actually cost less if you round it all up, like you don't have to drive, or if you're getting delivered, you wouldn't have to pay for the delivery. You can use leftover potatoes for the smoked paprika cubes as well, so you're saving money that way. And you can buy large bags of frozen oven chips as well, so you can buy them in bulk. They're also just healthier for you and you're still getting your chips. I love pizza, and takeaway pizza is really, really nice, and it's usually cooked to perfection and you can add whatever toppings you like, but it is really high in calories, really high in saturated fat and really high in salt. By making a simple change and making your own pizza, you can cut those down by so much. I can't really compare in this video because it obviously depends what you put on your pizza, but you don't even have to make your own base. You can use pita bread. You can use tortilla wraps to make a really, really thin base. You can get bases that are made up as well, obviously. And just homemade pizzas, they'll be less greasy, and you can make your own sauce as well. And a great tip, if you find that you're not really a big vegetable eater, by making your own sauce, you can sneak those veg in there and you won't even taste them really. Like putting peppers and putting tomatoes, and then what else could you sneak in there? Like you can put celery sometimes even, and there's loads of really nice recipes for pizza sauce that will get you loads of vegetables in there. And using a whole grain tortilla or pita bread will also get you that extra bit of fibre. So just if you take a couple of minutes to make these, it'll improve your health so much, and you'll still be getting your pizza. You'll probably be saving money as well, which is a big thing for most people. Burgers are another thing, and this is difficult to compare, but I do have a recipe for a healthy homemade burger that you can see in the description below. I've got a link for it, and then comparing it to a takeaway burger. Hard to compare because once again, most people put different things on their burgers, but I'm going with just a plain general takeaway beef burger. So a normal beef burger would usually be around 898 calories per burger. Like that's nearly 1,000 calories. And then if you were to just make your own burger, so you can get good quality lean mince meat, you can use a whole grain bap, you can put like some lettuce and tomatoes and stuff in it as well, or you can leave it plain. Even just making your own burger can cut the calories almost in half to 468 calories. Now these are average level numbers. They're just what I calculated when I compared them. Saturated fat levels in your average takeaway beef burger is 13 grams per burger. Now that's a lot of saturated fat in one go. If you were to just make your own burger and use lean mincemeat, because probably most takeaways don't use lean mincemeat, and some takeaways don't use very quality beef anyway, you're cutting your saturated fat almost in half once again, down to 4.9. So 13 grams of saturated fat in a burger or 4.9. I know what one I would take. Then there's salt. Your average takeaway beef burger gives you 4.3 grams of salt. Now that's over the limit. You should be having no more than, well, not over the limit, it's nearly close to the limit. You should be having no more than 6 grams of salt per day. Now if you were to make your own burger, you can more than half that intake of salt. Eggs are great. Some people think eggs, they have cholesterol in them and they increase cholesterol. And they do have cholesterol, but we're not going to go into that now. In my opinion, eggs are great. They're a great source of protein, they're a great source of fat-soluble vitamins, and they're very versatile, and they're not expensive. But choosing the way you cook your egg does change it. Now, fried eggs are great for breakfast, and a lot of people, they don't really like the texture of a boiled egg or a scrambled egg. But fried eggs, obviously, you're frying it, you're using oil, so it's going to be high in calories. So per average fried egg would give you 123 calories per fried egg. But poached eggs have a similar texture. You're not frying them in oil, and if you like that runny yolk that when you cut into a fried egg, you can get that in a poached egg as well, and they have less calories. So average poached egg only has 89 calories. Saturated fat is obviously higher in the fried egg, 2.5 grams of saturated fat, and then when you poach it, it's only 1.8 grams of saturated fat. Both fried eggs and poached eggs have similar levels of salt. But obviously this is before you add salt yourself if you do. Fried egg would have 0.21 grams of salt, and then the poached egg 0.18 grams of salt. There is other things you can sprinkle on top of your egg though that not salt. So paprika is nice on top of eggs. There's loads of herbs and spices that you could use instead of adding salt. Now for the Chinese chow mein. It is also high in calories, and I do have a recipe for it's like a chicken stir fry, but apparently it tastes almost exactly like a Chinese chow mein. Now, they both have similar calorie amounts, but when we go into the nutrients, you'll see why the stir fry is a lot better for you, and you're still getting the same taste. So the Chinese chow mein from the Chinese takeaway gives you 493 calories per like those little silver dishes. Whereas my recipe for a chicken stir fry, it gives you 453. So per portion. Now, you can decrease the portion and make the calories better. But we're going to go into the nutrients to see why my stir fry is better for you. The Chinese chow mein gives you 3.9 grams of saturated fat per portion, whereas the portion of my stir fry, it only gives you 1.2 grams of saturated fat per portion. Also, Chinese takeaways, like, you don't really know. They use a lot of preservatives, a lot of ingredients in general, but when you make it at home, you know exactly what's going in. You use good quality ingredients, and you can mix and match. Like in the stir fry, you can add more veg, which will lower the calories. You can change I use egg noodles in my recipe, but you can use rice noodles, which would also lower the calories. So you can make those changes. Whereas if you buy it from a takeaway, like, you get what you're given. Both are kind of high in salt, I have to say. Like the Chinese chow mein is 3.9, the stir fry is 3.4, but that's the soy sauce. Soy sauce, even if you use low sodium soy sauce, is high in salt. So if you were making the stir fry, you could change out the sauce, make a different kind. You could use a sweet and sour sauce. You could use something that doesn't have as much soy in it. That would lower the sodium levels, whereas you can't do that if you just buy a takeaway. Some other changes you can make. This wouldn't really be a treat, but it's just a good idea. If, like I said, you don't like vegetables, you can sneak these vegetables into foods like pasta sauce. Making your own pasta sauce and packing it full of vegetables, that will get your vegetables into you, and it's great if you have kids and they don't even know they're eating vegetables. You can use things like carrots, obviously tomatoes, and you can use celery, you could use peppers. You can just put it all in a blender, blend it up, nobody will know. If you find like you have a sweet tooth and you're constantly snacking on sweets, then try and swap the sweets out with dried fruit. Dried fruit is naturally sweet, so go easy on it. Like, don't be going crazy with them, but it will satisfy your sweet tooth, and obviously you're getting one of your 5 a day. Another tip is for sports drinks. Now, not energy drinks. No alternative for them. Just don't drink them. Sports drinks are drinks that they contain a little bit of carbohydrate. They don't contain caffeine, and they would be like Powerade, Gatorade, them kind of drinks. You can make your own at home. So all you need is some water, some diluted juice or squash, any flavor you want, and a little bit of table salt. And put the table salt in and shake it up. Now, the reason you're adding table salt is because usually when you're drinking these sports drinks, you're doing exercise, you're sweating, you're losing electrolytes. You want to replace them. And table salt is exactly the same as all those fancy rock salts and sea salts, and once it's in your body, it does the same thing. It just costs a lot less. You only need a pinch and you won't taste it because the diluted juice will mask it, and the diluted juice will give you just that, like, a little bit of carbohydrate that you need, and also you're getting your fluids. If you drink sports drinks that contain a lot of sugar in them, sometimes they can actually have the opposite effect of hydrating you, because the sugar kind of through osmosis will suck the fluids out of your cells and shrivel them up, and you don't want that. You want something that's going to hydrate you. So water, plain water on its own from the tap, doesn't have to be in a fancy bottle, is perfect. But if you're doing exercise for a long period of time, like over an hour, you will need that little bit of carbohydrate and that little bit extra electrolytes. So adding the little bit of diluted juice and a little bit of salt, mix it up, there you go. Fizzy drinks or soft drinks like Fanta, Coke, 7-Up, they're not only bad for your teeth because of the sugar and because they're very low in pH. So if you are somebody who drinks a lot of them, maybe swap into fizzy water with a little bit of diluted juice to give it flavour, or you can get flavoured fizzy waters as well. That will not only cut down on the sugar that you're taking in, but you're getting your hydration as well. Hope these alternatives help you, and just remember, sometimes you don't need an alternative, you just need your treat. Just keep in mind that, like I said before, a treat isn't something you have every day. It's a treat. It's once or twice a week max. If you like this video, be sure to like it. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload any more videos. Bye!